There's a massive productivity gap opening up in the professional world right now. But here's the thing, it's not about if you use AI anymore. It's all about how you use it. We're going to dig into the huge difference between using AI for little, simple tasks and using it to run entire systems. And believe me, this is the divide that's already separating the top performers from everyone else.
And hey, this is just the first stop on our journey together. To really get our heads around this massive shift, we're kicking off a brand new 3-part series all about the AI revolution. In the next 2 parts, we are going to go even deeper. But for now, let's focus on this fundamental split that's happening as we speak.
This quote it nails it. For the last year or so, most of us have been focused on using AI for individual things, right? Tasks. But the top 1%, they are playing a completely different game. They're not just using AI to do stuff, they're using it to build and run entire systems.
So let's really break this down, this new productivity divide, because the conversation has totally shifted. It's not about who has access to AI anymore. It's about how the absolute best are using it to create what feels like an almost unfair advantage. So if you're like most of us, your AI use probably fits into what we can call level 1. You ask it to help you draft an email, summarize a super long article, or maybe kickstart a brainstorm. And don't get me wrong, that's useful stuff. But it's barely scratching the surface of what this tech can actually do.
This analogy is just perfect. Using today's incredibly powerful AI for these simple one-off tasks, it is literally like having a supercomputer on your desk and only using it as a basic calculator. We have this amazing tool that can solve these huge, complex problems, and we're just using it for simple addition. We are missing the entire point.
Okay, so this is the key. The real revolution, the thing that's going to create this massive gap between average and top performers, it's all happening at level 2. And level 2 is the leap. It's the jump from thinking about AI for single tasks to using AI to run entire, complex systems.
So why are so many of us stuck in level 1? Well, it really comes down to a big misunderstanding about the tools we're all using. To see what I mean, we've got to pop the hood a little bit on the kind of AI we're all familiar with.
So the tools most of us use every single day, like ChatGPT, are built on what are called large language models, or LLMs. A good way to think of these is as task-based AI. At their core, they're just incredibly powerful prediction engines. You give them an input, a prompt, and their entire job is to predict the most likely string of words to give you the best possible text output.
But here's the big limitation, right? It's a one-to-one, totally static interaction. You ask it to write a marketing email, it writes you a great email, and then the process stops. It just sits there, waiting for your next command. It's completely transactional.
But level 2, this is where things get really wild. This is the revolution. We're talking about AI agents. And this, my friends, is the secret weapon that the highest performers are starting to roll out. So, what in the world is an AI agent? Well, unlike an LLM, an agent is a system-based AI. This means it doesn't just stop, it operates in a continuous loop. It has what's called agency, the ability to make its own decisions. And, this is critical, it can pull together and manage multiple tools to achieve a much bigger, higher-level goal.
And I really can't stress this enough. This is not some science fiction fantasy we're talking about for the future. This tech is real. It's here right now. And it is already changing the game for the people who have figured out how to use it.
Okay, so if there's one single idea to take away from all this, it's this simple analogy that makes it all click. It's the difference between having a brilliant assistant and having an autonomous project manager.
So on the one hand, you have your task-based AI. Think of it like a brilliant intern, super smart, but you have to give it very clear step-by-step instructions. It does that one task perfectly, and then it stops, waiting for you to tell it what to do next. Now, look at the other side. This is the system-based AI, the agent. This is no intern. This is an autonomous project manager. You don't give it tasks. You give it a high-level goal, and it then, all by itself, breaks that goal down, creates a whole plan, and executes the entire workflow in a continuous loop, constantly learning and adapting as it goes.
This quote just puts the difference in scale into perfect perspective. Using a task-based AI is like asking someone to write you a sentence. Using an AI agent is like telling someone to go write, publish, and market an entire book. I mean, we're talking about a completely different universe of delegation here. So, how does this actually work in the real world? Let's take a quick look at the operational loop that lets an AI agent automate a really complex workflow from start to finish.
Okay, it all kicks off with a high-level goal. Something like launch and optimize the email campaign for our new product. The agent then creates a plan, breaking that big goal down into smaller subtasks. Then it starts to act, actually doing those tasks by connecting to other tools, your CRM, your email platform, you name it. But this last step, this is the absolute game changer. Reflect and adapt. The agent watches the results, learns from what worked and what didn't, and then autonomously decides what to do next. It's a continuous, intelligent loop.
So back to our email campaign example. The agent might send out 2 different versions of the email. It sees that version B is getting a killer 12% open rate, while version A is stuck at 2%. It doesn't need to ping you or ask for permission. It just autonomously decides to stop sending the bad version and push all its resources to the one that's working. That is real automation.
So let's bring this all home. Why does any of this really matter? Because this shift, this fundamental move from tasks to systems, is creating a performance gap so wide it is going to completely redefine what it means to be a top performer.
And look, we are not talking about a small little 10% improvement here. We are talking about a 10x difference in your output and your effectiveness. That is the chasm that opens up when you go from just doing tasks a little bit faster to deploying autonomous systems that work for you around the clock.
This right here is the new competitive landscape. The future of work isn't about who can write a slightly better prompt. No, it's a competition between professionals who are still just executing individual tasks and professionals who are managing entire teams of AI agents that are running complex systems 24/7. That's a battle that is very, very hard to win.
And that leaves us with a really important question for you to think about. It's no longer good enough to just say you use AI. The real question is, how are you using it? Are you building tasks or are you building systems? Because that choice is going to define your career in the years to come. Thanks for joining us for part 1 of our series, and we'll see you next time.